We'll go ahead and get started here. Really appreciate you guys joining today. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these customer webinars. You might see some new faces here, or one new face in particular. I know David was the co-host for our customer webinars. Some news for you guys: David actually retired. So we kind of had to take a little bit of a beat and make sure we had our ducks in a row. And Virendra is here to help us with the customer webinars. So. Just to do a little bit of intro, Virendra, or Viren, if you'd like to call him, is our implementation manager. He was on the implementation team when I was on the implementation team, so we go way back. Very knowledgeable. If you've been through implementations at any point in the past, you may have seen him involved. And then myself, I am John May. I am the face, voice, man behind the curtain for Webgility in a lot of areas. If you call our IVR, listen to any of our YouTube videos, join any webinars, you've heard my voice and seen my face. So yeah, we're excited to get back into these customer webinars. We're not going to do every week like we had been, at least not to start. It'll be every other week for now. So while this is the first week, in 2 weeks, we're going to cover the same topic for our Webgility Online customers. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to cover a new topic. So look forward to the emails about what the next topic is going to be. But for today, we're going to be covering Amazon settlement reports. There's a lot to cover with Amazon just in general. I think one thing that a lot of people are going to find is that Amazon can be complicated for any number of reasons, but a lot of it really depends on how your Webgility account is set up, how you set up your workflow with Amazon, and how you process things in QuickBooks. So most of what we're going to be covering today specifically is going to be around settlement reports and why settlement reports can be, sort of complicated, the issues that arise with them, and then sort of how Webgility can help you combat those issues, I guess. So we'll go through the settlement details, and then towards the end we'll do a short demo video. One of the things that I want to preface is that it's really hard for us to demo anything directly in Amazon. They do not allow sandbox accounts or test accounts or anything like that, so we'd have to be working with live customer data, which is not super cool from a demo standpoint. So we have some recorded footage. We'll go through it and talk through it as we're showing the video. But that's sort of the second best thing that we can do when it comes to demoing Amazon. In the future, if we do have anybody that wants to volunteer maybe some dummy demo data from your Amazon account, we can always do that. We don't have that ourselves generally. So uh, just to get started, settlement reports can be tricky. I'm sure everybody knows this. If you join the webinar for any reason, I'm sure it's because you've had some issues with settlement reports or Amazon configuration in the past. I think the biggest problem is that settlement reports don't work naturally with people's workflows, I think. And it's the same with, you could compare it to Walmart payout reports or Shopify payout reports too. They work on their own schedule, right? So usually that schedule is 2 weeks, 14 days, 15 days. And most people don't close their books every 15 days. Most people don't reconcile on Amazon time. They reconcile on a monthly calendar or something like that. So I think that is where a lot of the confusion and the frustration comes, is that most people aren't, you know, setting up their workflows to work around Amazon's time or Shopify's time or Walmart's time. Um, and not only that, but Amazon sellers just have a lot of, complexity to worry about with their workflows. So some of the biggest things that I know that Amazon sellers, have to deal with, on top of the settlement report complexity, so all the different fees and things that are in the settlement reports, the timing, like I said, that 14, 15-day payout, kind of contrasted with when you normally do your transactional downloading and order posting and downloading. The sales tax management. This is a lot, I'd say, more straightforward than it used to be. Some in the past, Amazon didn't remit everything, right? There was some states that it hadn't remitted for. If you go way back, they didn't remit for most things. But now they remit just about everything, if not everything, I think, these days. So sales tax is more or less just handled by Amazon at this point. But if you have a high volume of orders, if you process thousands of orders a month, and you're kind of relying on Amazon and doing that manually, you're prone to a lot of errors. And then on top of that, with not only the settlement reports, but just the way that Amazon functions in general, there is a real big lack of visibility when it comes to the fees that you're paying, and then how often you're paying them, and I mean outside of even just like the payouts and orders, the way that a lot of their policies work can be pretty unclear too. So a lot of that is just the way that Amazon works. And then Varen, I know you might want to hop in here. I know I've been sort of hogging the mic. How does Webgility solve all of these problems, and can we relate that specifically to settlement reports?
Yeah, well, John, thanks for the introduction first. And I'm really excited to walk you all through one of the most challenging yet critical part of selling on Amazon, that settlement report reconciliation. So, uh, as John highlighted all the challenges, uh, again, selling on Amazon is really exciting. But if you ask most sellers what their biggest headache is, you'll hear one answer that's again and again, that's managing accounting. So in fact, research shows that almost 80% of Amazon sellers say bookkeeping is their number one challenge. And that's the main reason behind they find it difficult to reconcile. So yeah, it's Amazon's complex weekly settlement reports. These reports are full of sales, fees, shipping charges, advertisement fees, refunds, and etc. So keeping track of all of these manually can quickly turn into a nightmare. So let's discuss the challenges one by one so that we can cover them all and how Webgility can help you uh, manage all these challenges as a seller. And the bookkeeping again, keeping bookkeeping in mind. So what John mentioned, the number one challenge is the timing difference because it's not on a monthly basis, it's a bi-weekly report. So Amazon bank deposits are not pure revenue though. They are a mix of sales, fees, adjustments, because deposits happen on a different schedule. Sellers often mistake depositing for all income. This causes mismatches in the P&L and creates confusion. Another main challenge is the number of or the types of fees that Amazon has. Like I was once going through an article and found that there are more than 25, 30 different transaction codes or fees types on Amazon. So that's another challenge for the sellers, like uh, wide variety of fees, FBA fees, commissions, storage fees, shipping, chargebacks, reimbursements, and more. So tracking and categorizing each fees correctly in QuickBooks is overwhelming. Um, Another challenge, can you move back to the previous slide, John?
Yeah, it should be. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, the inventory accuracy, another thing that's maybe not mentioned here, because we sell both FBA and FBM. And usually when we have advanced inventory in QuickBooks, we do have separate inventory sites for FBA and FBM. So it's hard to keep inventory on track or adjusting them based on the sales that we do on Amazon channel. So Webgility can help you streamline that, can post to their distinct inventory sites in QuickBooks, managing inventory pretty easily. High volume of orders, like everyone wants to sell in high volume on Amazon. However, it comes with a challenge. The challenge is that we can't keep every order in QuickBooks as a separate transaction. And even if we do in bulk, it is prone to errors. Errors in inventory management, errors in tracking all the sales and revenue and fees associated with that. So with Webgility, you get the option to either post as individual transactions in QuickBooks, or you can just group them all into either a daily batch or a weekly batch, or you can even create a batch of yours of your choice. Like you can manually create a batch by selecting specific orders. So that's how Webgility can solve this problem. by eliminating every single transaction or an entry for every single transaction in QuickBooks. Real-time financial visibility, as soon as you receive the Amazon settlement report, you get the deposit into your bank account. You want that to be reflected in your accounting, right? For easy reconciliation. That's what Webgility can help you with. So let's understand how Webgility can do it.
Yeah, perfect. And it looks like we have a couple questions in the chat. This is perfect. I encourage you guys to ask your questions. If we can't answer them right away, just because we want to keep the flow going, we'll push them towards the end where we do the Q&A. When it comes to answering specific questions about your subscription, it's a little hard for us to dig into why something might not be working correctly. But we'll do our best to answer the question if it is something that we can, point out, or just a setting that needs to be checked or something like that. So yeah, Reggie mentioned getting past justifications. You guys are here to see Webgility screen setups and best practices. I can appreciate that, and we fully understand that the thing that you guys want to see, the reason you guys sign up for a webinar like this, is to understand how to best set things up. The That is something that we're getting to. One thing that I will say is that when it comes to setup and making sure that your Webgility settings are correct or set up in the best possible way, there is no best possible way for everybody, which is an unfortunate reality that I think we have to sort of address. However, I do think that it is important for us to have maybe a full dedicated session that goes through just the overall setup of an Amazon connection. Being that this is more specifically focused on Amazon settlement reports and sort of the ideal situation behind settlement reports, what needs to happen to make sure settlement reports are posted correctly. It would take us a really long time to go through all the settings that Amazon has available to make sure that things are set up correctly for everybody. But if that's something you guys are interested in, we can definitely do a session on that. I think the entire session would be dedicated just to going through all of the settings that are available for Amazon sellers. So just wanted to preface with that. As far as Michelle's question goes, your payouts are being transferred to an Amazon clearing account in QuickBooks. However, they are not being applied to the invoices to close them out. Is there a way that those payments can be applied to the invoices? Let me get with the team internally, and then we can follow up with you after the webinar. It sounds like there might be some maybe settings that we might need to walk through and make sure that the workflow is set up correctly. But yeah, I'll notate your account and I'll get with the team internally, and we'll reach out to start a conversation with you. Are people tracking inventory in QuickBooks Online, or what is advanced? I think both. I guess maybe I don't understand the question fully. QuickBooks Desktop has an advanced inventory plan that enables things like assembly items or more complex uh, inventory workflows. So it's an add-on basically for QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise. But to answer your question, people do track their inventory in the advanced inventory add-on for QuickBooks Desktop. Perfect. And it looks like other people are having the same issue that Michelle is having. What I'll do then is, Christine, if you're having the same issue, I can follow up with you as well. And then if it becomes something that we maybe need to amend this webinar to, because I know I send out the follow-up emails after this webinar is done, then we can send an update. If more than one person is having this issue, it might be good to just include that extra information so you guys can fix that on your end. Perfect.
So
Sorry
if
for the interruption, Varen. I know we
No
got a lot
worries.
to
Yeah,
get through,
thanks
so.
for taking the questions and answering them. Like I can relate one question, that's the payments are not being automatically applied in QuickBooks on the invoices. If that was the question, we need to make sure that the configuration is done as per the recommendation. And it is automated, like, or you are doing it manually. Like the first part is order posting. So if you have been doing the order posting on a daily basis, all the transactions are created in QuickBooks, either every transaction individually or in a consolidation way. You download and post the settlement reports bi-weekly. It should match. The payment should be applied on the invoices. That's what the workflow is. So as soon as we post the order, an invoice gets created. That's a past due invoice, which means a payment is not applied and the amount remains in the ER account. Now, when Webgility receives the settlement report, it reads it and finds that this particular order has been settled. Then while posting the settlement report, it actually applies the payment to that invoice and take the amount from AR to the clearing account. Now I'm mentioning clearing account here. Clearing account is like an Amazon holding account where we temporarily uh, hold the money for all the revenue that we are receiving for Amazon orders. And once the settlement is posted, then we actually do the deposit matching. That's the final step of it. So like if I just break it down, you create the invoice is unpaid, you download the settlement, post the settlement, the invoices are applied payment for, the amount gets transferred from AR to the clearing account. Now to match the amount, like that's whatever you have, whatever payout you received by Amazon for that specific settlement period, that amount should exactly show in the clearing account. If that shows, we transfer that amount from the clearing to your checking account or whatever bank account you use for Amazon. That's how we reconcile it. That's an easy process.
Yeah, so I think the one of the biggest things to mention when it comes to Amazon settlement reports is that ultimately, like the actual process of settlement reports is straightforward, right? As long as I guess the preparation, the work has been done to make sure that things go smoothly, it is only a couple steps, right? Like what you're seeing here, the ideal workflow is that you're posting every day, just like you would with any other, Webgility connection. If it's on your Shopify, you're doing the same thing, right? You're doing your daily order posting or your batch posting or however often you're posting your orders. And then every 15 days, you're downloading the settlement report and matching the deposit afterwards. And that's all there is to it in a perfect world. The problem, I think, is that that perfect world can be a little hard to get to for a lot of people. I think with how many different workflows there are, how many different things you can download and post, how many different fees there are, that is where you run into a lot of the issues. And Varen was kind enough to get us a sort of a short demo video, the process of downloading and posting settlement reports. And then I don't know if you wanted to talk through the deposit screenshot here as well, just to make sure.
Yep. So currently the screen that is being shown, it has the Amazon statements. So for this particular demo, we are processing one settlement through Webgility that is for $291.42. So in the video, we'll actually see how Webgility is downloading, posting orders, and what steps we are doing in Webgility and in QuickBooks.
Perfect.
You
And
can move to the
Catherine actually shared a really good point. With the difference between FBA and FBM. FBM does tend to be straightforward, right? Because there's no real surprises since you're fulfilling it. But when FBA comes into the picture, because Amazon's fulfilling things, and Amazon has its own way of processing all these different fees and logistics. It splits the settlement reports for you. And sometimes you'll get amended reports, like Catherine said in the chat, a month later, and it's a different amount. So that's where you're probably just going to run into issues when it comes to automating those things. And there's not a lot that Webgility can necessarily do to fix that, other than give you the tools to prepare yourself. So when it comes to FBA, I think it's important to think about maybe setting up a workflow that kind of accommodates this situation, where you're maybe batch posting at certain times to make sure that your workload isn't increased by the fact that Amazon's coming back with an amendment to your your reconciliation a month later. It's sort of a painful reality of dealing with Amazon, one of a couple or a handful that I think Amazon does have. For all its great things, I think there's some complexity there that makes it really hard on sellers unnecessarily. But um, Len said FBA, FBM question mark. Good. That's a good point out. We use a lot of jargon and acronyms here because I think you know uh, we get used to using those being in the industry for so long. Fulfilled by Amazon and fulfilled by fulfilled by the seller is what FBM basically is. So FBA would be wholesale, having Amazon sell your products and fulfill the logistics. FBM is you're fulfilling them yourself, essentially. Um, Perfect. And then Angela asked, why do they split? Does it have to do with shipping dates and payments from customers? I think it has to do with a lot of things. Like what you mentioned, and on top of the more logistical side of things with shipping dates, I think it has to deal with the vendors that they use themselves and the internal logistics in Amazon. I think because they're managing it on their end, they kind of work on their own timelines, whereas you might have a lot stricter of timelines since you're managing everything yourself. Christine, so the items I'm fulfilling from warehouse is FBM, awesome sauce. I was confused about that. So it could be FBM if you it's essentially two different subscriptions. Fulfilled by Amazon is its own basically system or process. You would definitely be aware if you were using Amazon fulfillment because you would basically contract them out for your fulfillment. So yeah, good questions. Sorry, I know, Varen, I keep cutting you off here, but this is a great segue to the demo video. It is a silent video, so we'll talk through some of the things that are happening. Varen, if you want me to pause at any point, just let me know and I can pause it.
Sure. Yeah. So for this demo, we picked up a smaller Amazon settlement report that's only $191.42. Okay. So the first step is to post all daily orders into QuickBooks. That's our first step. We should have all orders posted. This ensures every order tied to the specific settlement period is recorded properly.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note here that obviously there's only two orders that we're showing on the screen here. I mean, this is
Yeah, the rest of
probably
the
not going to
orders
be
for this.
your reality. It's probably going to be a lot more than two. And what
Yeah.
this video is doing is it's selecting all of the orders rather than maybe doing a batch posting. So um, again, if we're trying to fit within a specific settlement window, make sure you're batch posting things that fall within the settlement window, because that's where you could run into issues.
So it's not just two orders. If you see the posted order section, there are a
Yeah.
lot more orders associated with this settlement. It's
Yeah.
just that these two are pending that we are posting.
And it's posting.
Okay, posted successfully. Now I'll take you to the QuickBooks to show this invoice. So here in QuickBooks, you can see the invoice that was just posted under the customer Amazon FBM order. Notice that it shows as unpaid. So that's because Amazon hasn't released the payer payment yet, or we haven't posted it yet.
Oh, oops. My bad.
Can you take it back?
Yeah. And right here.
So this particular invoice is being shown in the AR 34.98. Now we'll go ahead and post the settlement report. So this is the report that we checked on Amazon. That's $291.42. So a number of steps are involved when we post a settlement report, and this process may take some time depending on the number of transactions, number of refunds associated with this. That's one of the reasons why I picked a smaller one. So you notice that Webgility actually shows each step of the posting process, including what's pending, what's done, what's being happening right now. It's done now. It's posted. We'll check the chart of accounts now. So you'll see the amount in the Amazon clearing account matches the settlement exactly. That means all the fees, refunds, and adjustments have been applied. Now the final step. So I'm creating a transfer from Amazon clearing to the checking account, making sure the date of this transaction is the deposit date. And transfer is happening from Amazon clearing to the checking account. For this particular demo, I'm just using a Shopify clearing as the bank account.
So yeah, you'd use whatever your actual checking account is there.
Yep, that's the settlement ID. You can copy it through Webgility, paste it in the memo. And I would also usually include the settlement period. That gives us full clarity that this particular transaction belongs to this settlement period or this settlement report. So this is the full flow, like orders posted daily, settlement applied every 2 weeks, and the deposits matched seamlessly. So this keeps your sales expenses and bank balances perfectly in sync. Again, there is a lot of thing in the background because first we need to make sure that the settings that we have done are as per the recommended setup and we have selected the right chart of accounts there. That makes the process simple.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just to sort of reiterate what we said at the beginning of the session, this process is straightforward, right? The actual process of going in and downloading orders and posting a settlement report, and if everything is set up, is very straightforward. I know uh sort of the request I know Reggie mentioned was that we want to see the optimal way of setting up Webgility, and I think that is something that's super valuable. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, put it in the chat. Let me know if that's something that you want to have a full session on, where we just go in and cover everything that Amazon should be set up with to make sure that it's an ideal situation. I knew that there would be some yeses. I think it's important though to sort of introduce the concept here. I know this is sort of a lighter version of the more deep conversation behind what goes on behind settlement reports. But for some of the newer sellers or the as somebody mentioned they were green, for people that aren't even familiar with the process of posting a settlement report, I think it's important to get through that, I guess, first hurdle, and then we can go into the deeper stuff. So yes, lots of yeses. I'm excited to see that. So I think we'll spend some time over the next couple weeks coming up with a uh, a very comprehensive, I guess we'll say, recommended settings list that we can use for Amazon. Obviously, there is no one size fits all. I wish there was. It would make our job so much easier if we could just say, hey, put these settings in and it'll work every single time for you. But with how e-commerce and money and all of the different things that go into selling on Amazon work, it's just not that simple. So we'll put together at least as close as we can a list of recommended settings for you guys so that you can feel confident at least going into the settlement reports and at least getting most of the way there. If there's still errors, then at least we sort of know where to start with those errors or those issues that you guys run into. So yeah, now is the dedicated question and answer session. So if you have questions, even if it doesn't pertain to the exact thing that we're talking about right now, feel free to ask them. Again, if it's something that we can't answer right now, we'll definitely get with you after the session. Angela said, "Hi, this can wait, but you mentioned earlier that the settlement periods don't always coincide with month end. Does this mean does everyone then make manual adjustments to their accounting records, or do we just keep what Amazon settles and know that it's not ideal?" I think it really depends on how you want to do it. Because yes, Amazon does not work off of month end. They don't go by calendar month. It's whenever the settlement report starts and ends based off of like your, subscription as a seller. So that's not ideal by any means. And I think a lot of people just end up changing their accounting workflow specifically for Amazon. So you'll set up, your normal reconciliation days, your normal order posting schedules, and then you'll have sort of a separate Amazon batch that you'll do just to keep things segmented, keep things more simple. Again, not ideal. I don't think anybody has said that it's a real ideal situation, unfortunately, but I think that is what people do generally. If anybody else wants to chime in with what they do in that situation as an Amazon seller, I think this is the perfect avenue for it. Being that you guys are all Amazon sellers, I think sharing your guys' expertise on what you do in situations is super important here. So, um, Christine said, I tried to figure all that out with the mapping and it was difficult to understand. It would be great to have a good understanding of it. I agree. Not only does Amazon have all these different workflows, different knobs and levers to pull, Webgility has just as many. And like I said, it can be daunting for us to even go into a session that covers half of it because there's so many different options. And everybody's workflow is different. So yeah, we'll do our homework, our due diligence, and make sure that we have a more comprehensive session that follows this one. So yeah, everybody that's on this session, when we do have that session scheduled, I don't know if it's going to be the next topic yet, but when we do have that session scheduled, we'll send a reminder out that it's a follow up to this session that kind of talks more deeply about the settings. We'll
So
do this be. Oh, go ahead.
just to answer Christine's question about um, mapping of the accounts, if it is about mapping of the expense accounts, then usually with the recommended setup, we suggest to use one generic expense account because, as we mentioned, there are many different types of fees and expenses on Amazon that are difficult to track. But if you want to do it, WebGility does provide you the option to do it at a granular level, and it would still do the reconciliation for you. So there is a way. Probably will follow up and advise you on how you can get the mappings done correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And then Allison asked, would this be possible with multiple currencies set up, Amazon CA and Amazon US, QB, and USD?
If
Yeah,
it's QuickBooks Desktop, and it's
specifically
Amazon
QuickBooks
US
Desktop.
account.
Yeah,
Yeah, QuickBooks Desktop US version, and Amazon US account that includes Canada and Mexico as well. Yes, the reconciliation is feasible. It's possible.
yeah.
WebGLT can do it.
Specifically in QuickBooks Desktop. If it's QuickBooks Online, there is no great way to say that it doesn't work well with multiple currencies. Perfect. Currency change variances. How do you fix this to be able to post payouts? Multiple currencies and currency changes complicate things even further. I'm sure Varen can attest to this, but we run into a lot of issues with multiple currencies just because of the nature of currency exchanges. So if you're having issues with your currency exchange, I would say reach out to our team and we can look deeper into what's happening. Um, in an ideal world, again, it would work very easily and not have any hitches. But when it comes to already having issues with settlement reports and then adding a currency change on top of it, it tends to complicate things further for us. So, um, not to say that it can't be fixed. I would just say it's that's definitely a conversation with our support team to make sure that we're setting things up correctly for you. Angela says, does everyone reconcile their clearing account to zero each month? I'd say that's not uncommon, but there are other ways of doing it, and I think you'll find people in a number of different camps when it comes to when they settle or when they reconcile and how they reconcile. Um, I think settling with close is fine. I think when you scale to a certain point, though, you'll have sort of a need to adjust your reconciliation period and how often you're doing it and how thorough you're being. Christine said we were trying to find a report to see where things were going and if it was set up correctly. My Trust AI assistant walked me through it, but my boss still thought I was missing information. I'm betting y'all have previous webinars for newbies on WebGility that I can find. We do have previous webinars. We ran customer webinars for I'd say a couple months before David retired. So you might find some helpful information in there. If you're not finding what you need, though, just reach out to our team. Or you can reach out to me directly, john.may@webgility.com, and offer any suggestions for things that you'd like to see. I think a big thing with these webinars is that we do have a lot of new sellers, all the time. And I think it's important to make the new sellers feel like they understand what's going on. Because there's a lot of different, you know, workflows and settings and, like I said, levers and knobs to push and pull. So if there's anything that the new sellers want to see specifically, just reach out to me and we can set up some learning for you guys. I'm so glad I'm not alone in having issues with QuickBooks. You're definitely not. I think if there's one thing that I know, it's that QuickBooks and Amazon is complicated, and it's complicated for everybody. So you're definitely not alone. Um, but yeah, any other questions for settlement reports? I know we didn't go super deep into the process. I know settings are something that we want to talk a lot more about. So like I said, we'll get our ducks in a row there and give you guys, I think, exactly what you're looking for when it comes to setting things up properly. Please keep these coming. I knew that people were missing them when they were offline for the last month or two. Unfortunate that David retired. It's great for him. But I'm glad that we have Varen and the rest of the implementation and support teams. You'll likely see some other faces as well. I know Varen's taking the first shift on these customer webinars. So yeah, we appreciate Varen. We appreciate the support team because I know a lot about Webgility. I used to be on the implementation team, but I'm sort of removed from it, being on the marketing and sort of operational side of things sometimes. So it's good to have people that work with it every single day. Cool. Well, if there are no other questions, we can end early today. I see Christine asked another one. Do you know of anything we can connect WebGility QuickBooks Desktop to Go High Level? I'm assuming Go High Level is a product. I'm not familiar with it. CRM. Got it. Nothing that I know of, but I can do some digging. Webgility specifically doesn't connect with Go High Level. There is a
It
possibility.
doesn't connect currently, yeah, maybe in
Yeah,
future.
yeah. There's okay. So two ways that we can go with that. You can put in a request to add it to our roadmap as like a feature to connect to CRMs. I would say that that's probably not going to happen for some time, even if it does get added to the roadmap. But we do have the option to, if your budget is flexible, sort of custom build that API for you. That's always an option. That is, again, dependent on your budget and how badly you want that connection. As for the QuickBooks desktop connection to Go High Level, I can do some digging and see if there is a connection there. I'm not familiar with Go High Level though. That's huge. So many people looking to connect. Cool. Yeah, I'll get with the team internally and we can reach out to you to sort of start that conversation and see what's needed there. Do you offer one-on-one consulting? Gabby says we want to explore batch posting for orders. We bring 10,000 orders per month and it's causing our QB file to go quick. That is familiar. We see that a lot. So yes, we do offer one-to-one consulting. It sounds like you're under the assumption that it would be some like paid service. We have our implementation team. We can do a refresher session. Our support team can help you with that 100%. That's something that we can get set up for you super easily. And that goes to everybody else here. So I know you're going to be waiting for the settings, webinar that we're talking about putting together. If you don't want to wait and you want to sort of have somebody take a look at your workflow and your settings and the way that everything is configured in WebGility for you, you don't have to wait for that. Just reach out to our team internally. You can go to if you log into your portal at portal.webgility.com, we have a chat system on there that'll get you connected directly with our support team. You can call us as well, and we can schedule a session with somebody on our team to get you sorted. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys joining the webinar today. I'm happy to be back. It's good to start doing these again. Thank you, Varen, for joining today. The next session, again, will be in 2 weeks. It'll be for our WebGility Online customers specifically. I don't think that this conversation is necessarily specific to desktop or online. There's some nuances there, but feel free to join if you just want to hang out and give advice to other sellers or take advice from other sellers. I think having a community is the most important thing here. So look out for the follow-up email with the recording of this session and any other materials I can send out for you guys. And then again, if you guys need anything at all, just reach out to us and we'll get you sorted.
Right. Thank you, John. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a wonderful rest of your week.